This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
Hey, hello, and we're live. How about that?
I love your splash page. I don't know if it's called a splash page. It's called that in some other context or things. But your opening page, that is so cool, and the rock is pretty good too.
Yeah, thanks.
I love the graphics.
Awesome. What do you think of it, Tom?
Say that again. I'm almost deaf, which is really being deaf.
Tom was on mute. You're not deaf. Tom was on mute.
No, that was me. I muted myself because I had to cough and then I forgot. Yeah. So show's usually better when I'm on mute.
My wife has been trying to get me to get a hearing aid 2, 3 years, 4 years. I finally went in March, right when COVID hit, and I actually got in for testing. But then I didn't buy the hearing aid because I didn't know if it was going to be inside or outside batteries or rechargeable. And it got to be too many decisions. So I still don't have my hearing aid, which means I really don't hear as well as I should, which also means that's not good for a film director because they don't know what's going on half the time.
Well, I'm not even going to let you know that it was muted at the time.
Yeah, you did. I heard that you were muted because you were waving and your lips were moving. And I didn't hear a thing.
All right. Well, our guest this week is Logan Fry. Logan is a filmmaker and an actor. Logan has been in such films as Spider-Man 3. I'm going to ask you about that. I Am Legend. What else? What else have you been in? Oh, Captain America's Civil War. No, it's not Civil War. Which one? The Winter Soldier.
It was. That's not Captain. That's not Captain America. Yeah.
You were in the freaking movie and you don't even know what it's called. My gosh.
You get into so many damn things. And
you just walked on a movie set and they're like, we need you.
Some of the really good ones, like I Am Legend, that was great. And then I spent 33 days on set in Michigan, Pontiac, Michigan. On that, they had a big studio set up in an old Pontiac plant. It was in Pontiac, Michigan. 33 days on set. And that was honestly great and powerful. I love that.
I love that movie.
Movies, I just don't even. I don't remember them all.
But anyway. One of my favorite recent shows was Gotham, and I saw that you were in that, or you were a background actor in that. That must have been fun.
Yeah, I go to New York and I don't make any money. I lose money every time, but I learn a lot because I see good directors, I see good actors, I see good action.
School's expensive.
Really good, and sometimes the food's good too. So this was Gotham, and I think I was in at least two. No, that was Boardwalk Empire. It was in two different episodes.
Another one of my favorite shows.
What?
Boardwalk Empire is another one of my favorite shows.
So, So, if you have a tuxedo, you have a golden ticket to be an extra background actor almost anywhere because not every.
I have two tuxedos.
What?
I have two tuxedos.
Let the casting directors know you got a tuxedo and that you wear them well.
That's good to know.
Yeah, because not everybody has them. If they need a tuxedo because it's a formal event, they don't want to go out and rent a tux for you. That's money. So they'll give you $25 to bring your own tuxedo, and it saves them $100 on the rental or whatever it is.
Well, there you go. Hey, casting directors, I have my own tuxes. Give me a call.
I can't picture you in a tuxedo. It remind me too much of being at Jerry Garcia's funeral.
Oh, thanks.
Well, you've got a. I don't know.
Oh, you're talking about Logan?
Okay.
So, but you're talking about me. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I get it now.
There's really. I'm making a movie, and it's called The Last Man on Earth, and it's one of my COVID movies. I've got about 4 or 5 COVID movies, and it's my big COVID movie because this thing's going to run about 40, 50 minutes long. It's going to be too long for Twisted Dreams, I'm sure, but
That's a long short. Is it? It's a short film, right?
40, 50 minutes.
That's long for a short film.
I have short films I could send you, but this one's going to be a long one. But it's sort of
traces. Just make it a feature. Don't make it a short. Make it a feature.
If I can get, what's your feature cutoff?
70, 80 minutes, right?
About that. Yeah, we don't really have a cutoff. We don't have any kind of time constraints or cutoffs. But I will tell you, as a film festival director, the longer the short, the harder it is to program, because we want to put as many short films as we can in the block. So if we have like a 30, 40 minute short, that's really hard to program.
But you're going to have, for your features, you're going to have, it's okay for a feature, but you're only going to show 6 features or something like that. So,
well, this year we have a lot more time to work with.
We have 10 days. 10 days. Yeah, we have 10 days.
So there's going to be a lot more films involved this year.
Yep.
Well, what I've done with my films, and so the one was Gimme Head, the Tale of the Cauga Valley Bigfoot, and it has another title, Decapitator, the Tale of the Yellow Creek Bigfoot, and that's for a different kind of audience. But they're all movies that have nudity in them. So it's not going to go every place. So if I show it at the public library with my neighbors, I got to have these little clown faces in strategic places to hide things. But that I started when my first cut on it was 37 minutes, and then I started submitting to film festivals, and they told me, it's way too long. So there was one festival I've had a film every year for 7 years. It's in Cleveland. It's a good festival. It's the Indie Gathering, and I recommend it to anybody. It's a good festival. It's one of the more expensive ones out there because I think it's $30, $40 submission fee. I don't usually go that high, but they have me back every year, and I want to be back every year. So they said it's too long. That it's official selection, but they couldn't screen it. And I said, how long do you want it? And they said, 7 minutes we could screen it.
7 minutes is the magic number. Yeah. Usually I like between 4 and 5, but 7 is probably the perfect number.
7-minute cut. So I've got this 37-minute cut, 30-minute cut, 24-minute cut, 15-minute cut, and 7-minute cut, all for the same film.
Wow.
Because I spend more time editing my films than making them sometimes.
Yep.
But so I try to get into festivals because that's the only way anybody's going to see my films. And if you're going to try to get into festivals, you got to know what they want. And you probably have something called the Milwaukee International Film Festival, something like that. It's going to be a big people dress up, and opening night, people are wearing their gowns and their tuxedos, and
I wear my tux.
You actually go to that?
No, I do go to it. Yeah, I get press passes every year, so I get to get into everything. But no, I don't wear my tux.
I will never make it. My films will never make it into that festival or Cleveland International Film Festival, or any of those.
Yeah,
my films go to trash film festivals.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, all right. Yeah, Twisted Dream.
That is a niche. That's a niche that if you make that kind of film, don't spend $20, $30, $40 and submit films and get rejections all day long. I got a theory that film festivals don't, reject you. They do the first time, but after the first rejection, you reject them. You just never go back. But you do go back to the festivals that support you. Hey,
Ron Petit says, I agree. I definitely agree. That's really my sweet spot, 2 to 3 minutes.
My shortest film was 15 seconds. So it was.
That was your sex tape, right? Gotcha.
It was almost that bad. It was almost that graphic because it was a gal with a hand scythe. If you got the big scythe, but this is a little hand scythe, and she had this hand scythe, and she was coming down on her mom in the basement floor and bam, 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 and murdered her, something terrible. And that was just 15 seconds. And it's got a funny story if you want to hear it.
Sure.
Okay.
15 seconds?
Yeah. Book's longer than the movie.
So there's this great film festival in Australia. It's called Trashorama, and I've been trying for years to get in Trashorama. My films aren't bad enough for Trashorama. I mean, their stuff's bad. But one of the guys in Trashorama,
I'm feeling really motivated to do Twisted Dreams more. Like,
so
we're not to Trashorama level yet, but we'll get there.
Yes.
I mean, that's great. Anyway, some of the guys out in Australia had come up with this idea of making films with, a lot of filmmakers. So they took the original script of Night of the Living Dead, and they assigned one page per filmmaker, and they had filmmakers from all over the world. So you make your one page, and then they compile that into a full movie. Now the other thing is, when you make your page, when you make your film, you can do anything you want with it. You can make little models. If a house burns down, you can make a little model and you can set it on fire with lighter fluid. You could, if you have cars and trucks going down the road, you can get Lego cars and Lego trucks going down the road. I mean, it's anything you can imagine, and then they splice it together into the full film. The page I had was when Helen comes down and Karen is in the basement. She's just turned into a zombie. Helen comes down and she says, Karen, what? And Karen looks up at her, and then Karen comes and she's got this garden tool, and she comes. So that was one half of my page. And then the other half of the page is upstairs when the zombies are trying to get in the house. Hi, Scott. How you doing? Anyway, they're trying to get in the house. So I took half of that little thing that I did, which comes up to about 15 seconds. And there's a film festival, I don't know, out in Texas or Arizona, someplace, called the 15-minute horror film fest or something like that. So I submitted it, and they liked it. It just surprised me and so what I did is I edited what I had done for the one festival, and then I cut it, and then I changed it, and then I added titles and stuff. So it's a film that I can submit to another festival. And I mean, that's one of the ways I make films, I guess. And, you got a film that, they got a 2-year limit on, it's got to be made in the last 2 years. But if I re-edit a film in 2020, that's a new film.
Yeah, that's true. There you go.
And
the Fry cut.
No, it's a director's cut, but on the bumbling site.
You totally forgot what you were talking about, didn't you? I'm going to call you out on that. We were talking about the 15-second film.
Well, what were we saying about it?
You set up this whole story.
You were going to tell us the story about your 15-second film.
That's how it came to be.
Okay.
Oh, you edited it down. Okay.
My
you edited it.
Second film was, I got into this project out of Australia.
All right.
I made my movie in the age of COVID. We all were wearing masks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Made the film. The first part of that was Helen coming into the basement and Karen kills her. And then I took that segment. The page had 2 segments, and that was the first part of the page. I took that and repackaged it as a separate 15-second film and submitted it to the 15-second horror film festival.
Okay, well, that's creative.
Yeah.
You got that now, Tom?
I got an idea, though, for a 15-second film. You do a whole feature, and you just play it on fast forward.
I thought Molly wasn't going to do that.
Never mind. We won't go that.
So
I like making these crappy movies. I'm never going to make money at this stuff. I have no clue. I have never known how to make. I was practicing law and didn't know how to make money.
That was going to be my question. You're a lawyer by trade, and how does a lawyer go from practicing law to making a movie called Gimme Head about Bigfoot and Ro-Boob, the farting robot sex monster?
That's a long story, but the short version of the story is I was raised on a farm, went to law school. I wanted to be a chemist.
As farmers do.
Yeah, I wanted to be a chemist. I couldn't. I just didn't cut it. I couldn't cut it. Went to law school because my dad was a lawyer. My uncle was a lawyer. So I went to law school, became a lawyer, worked for the U.S. Department of Justice, Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, Goodyear Atomic Corporation, and we diffused uranium up to bomb-grade material. This was a big
God.
Whoa.
The heck, what was Goodyear doing with uranium?
Well, back actually even in World War II, corporations, especially in the old days, would get into all kinds of side deals. So Goodyear, during World War II, built the P-38 airplane. It's called Goodyear Aircraft. They set up a new subsidiary. They were, tires was their deal, but they made the aircraft. They made the airplanes that fought in World War II. Somehow they got involved in a government-owned, company-operated GOCO plant in Piketon, Ohio, and it's the Piketon Uranium Enrichment Plant. And it's a process called gaseous diffusion. I could explain it to you, but
that's all right. I do that every
Can you
night.
understand it for me, though? That's the question.
Gaseous diffusion. I mean, I
do that once. I do that once a night.
Yep.
Like clockwork.
Anyway, let's see. My dad died. Had to move back.
It has to do with a concentration gradient. I know what you're talking about.
Well, what it is, it's a barrier, and gas is forced into this big tube at high pressure, and the barrier has little teeny holes in it. And some of the gas can wiggle out, and some of the gas can't. The gas that can wiggle out goes this way. The gas that can't goes back that way. And they keep doing this process over and over and over and over. They had 4,500 horsepower engines per unit, and they had them just row after row after row. I mean, this is a big plant. But my dad died and moved back to Richfield. I set up my own law practice. Did that for a while. I did probate. My clients were all living into their 80s and 90s. I didn't have any probate estates. My wife was a weaver. I wanted to go to Africa because my dad had been in Africa, but she said, go to Washington Island, and there's a Seaver school, weaving school. Go there instead. I went up there, loved it so much, came home, closed my law office, and became a weaver.
A weaver?
I make art textiles. It's double weave.
Yeah.
I can pull one off the wall right now, but you're not gonna want that. Anyway, I do stuff in the Smithsonian, man.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Minneapolis Institute of Arts and a bunch of stuff. I did that, but it wasn't making any money. Just like making movies, I made good stuff, but it wasn't making money. So that's where Spider-Man 3 comes in. I'm a weaver, and in the paper, there's a little notice, actors needed for Spider-Man 3. Come to the Oak Room in Terminal Tower at such time. I showed up. You can't believe the number of people that were wearing Spider-Man suits in line to be a background actor. Anyway, I got the job as a precision driver. And that's a story in itself because if you saw Spider-Man 3 and if you saw the scene where Sandman is escaping down the streets of New York City, which is actually filmed in Cleveland, but anyway, and he ends up crashing into a garbage truck and Spider-Man goes off this way. I'm in that whole scene where all these cars and trucks and things are speeding down the highway, and I'm going out this way, and there's this big armored truck full of money coming this way, and there's a camera truck coming this way, and the boom's over the top of my car, and you just drive this way and everything's coming at you like this, and you got to figure out how to do it without getting scared. So that's the first movie I got into, and I liked it. So the next couple movies were in New York and Connecticut and New Jersey, and I just stayed with it since then, and that's about 2006. 14 years ago. What I learned in making movies and being an actor is that every living soul on a movie set has an idea for a movie. And they want to find somebody who's going to make that movie for them. I saw people coming up I've seen people going up to the lead character of a show like James Franco and say, I got this idea for a movie about baseball because I was in the baseball strike. They didn't throw him out. I don't know why they didn't throw him off the set, but he came right up to James Franco with the pitch. And
yeah, I believe it.
what I learned was, if you got an idea for a movie, you got to make it yourself. So that's how I got into making movies. And I like making movies a lot more than being a background actor. That's for sure. I enjoy being a background actor, but
you've been in a bunch of stuff. Real Steel, Rabid Fight Fan, Contagion. Well, that's a movie that predicted the future, isn't it?
With Real Steel, I wish God damn it. Do I have any of these things here? I don't know if I got any of my pictures or not. Oh. Where am I going to put this? Can you see that there? There's a little bit of glare, but it's sort of a faux mohawk.
Mm-hmm.
And I got my little earrings things there. So I went for that I was in 3 scenes, and in the one scene, I'm in the Cobo Hall in Detroit, and I'm at one of the big fights because these are robot fighters. It's in the future, and there's no live boxing; it's all robot boxing. Mm-hmm. I was in a couple of scenes in Cobo Hall that represented, World Robot Federation boxing. Then they had one scene where I had my mohawk. I got into that because I went up the casting director said, do you have anything for the next couple of days? And she said, well, you could go there, but you can't look like what you look like right now because I'm wearing a suit and tie and whole thing, nice hair, everything. So I went to a hairdresser in, down the road from where I was staying in Detroit, north of Detroit. And she gave me the real close on the sides and the mohawk on the top. And I said, what kind of color can you give me? And she said, I'm not sure, but she gave me that red color. So I did that for that scene. And then in another scene, I'm in the old Ford plant it's north of Detroit, but it's sort of downtown. It's not downtown, but it's the industrial section. There's an old Ford plant, and they had another fight in there. And I was wearing my little scarf thingy, and I don't know. I'm looking at myself, and everything's backwards. I can't get this straight. But that was a completely different look. So I had 3 completely different looks for the same movie. A lot of times, casting doesn't want you to be if you're in one scene, you can't be in another scene. Mm-hmm. But I've tried to figure out ways to change my look enough that I can be in 3 scenes if they can use me, and it's worked. And that's Real Steel that was a great movie. That's fun.
I liked it. Yeah. Did you meet Hugh Jackman?
It was a funny thing. We're in the Cobo Hall. We're sitting right in the front row, right next to the boxing ring. And then, you got to walk around and everything. And somebody in one of the extras had done a freestyle photograph, not a freestyle drawing of Jackman. And then that started getting passed around, and it came to the people that I was sitting with, the group that I was sitting with. Hugh Jackman walks over and says, I'd like to look at that. And he came and looked at it, chatted a little bit. Real nice guy. I mean, he's just really pleasant, really happy-go-lucky. So I can't tell you I'm Hugh Jackman's best bud now or anything like that.
Well,
I'd
be heartbroken if I heard that Hugh Jackman was just a dick. So I'm glad
you can't look that good and be mad about anything.
I'm glad he's nice.
Some of these actors really are, and people who on screen are, the nicest people in the world. But
they're dicks in person, yeah.
Shut down the cameras, call cut, and they're bad.
That's because a bunch of guys are running up with screenplays telling them about movies all the time.
Well, that's true too. These poor actors, they're making millions of dollars, and they're working long, they're working 15 minutes and then going back to their trailer, and they have to hang out in their trailer and drink beer for an hour and come back again.
That's rough.
Training.
Yeah, that's Tom's train.
You have a train?
Yeah, that's the 3rd train of the show, and we're 20.
Oh no, no, don't cut it out. No, you went to mute again.
You're unmuted now.
That is so cool. You know what? When you're making a movie, they always say, "Oh, there's an airplane going." You have to shut everything out because there's an airplane. Well, unless you're making a Western and it's 1885, don't worry about the airplane. No, if it's 1885, hi Ron, how you doing? Yeah, poor actors in there. That's right.
So, what was it like working on the set of a Marvel movie or in Winter Soldier? What was that like?
Oh, geez, I almost had to throw Chris Evans out. You know, when have either of you done background work in film?
A little bit, I have, yeah. Not to the extent of your experience.
I was in Ron's movie.
Well, I mean, if you've done it one time, and if it's a major film, it's pretty much the same every time.
Yeah,
if you've done it one time. You know, you go out and they have to film the scene 17 times. If you're lucky, it's only 7. So we were in Cleveland Historical Society in Cleveland. It's a museum, and it was doubling for the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. And the setup was the Captain America Museum, and it had all of his junk and stuff and photos and history and all this kind of crap. So I was a guest services person, docent or something like that. Mm-hmm. And when you go in your film, you start off and you're assigned your number one. They say, you here, you over here, and that's your number one. You do the action, and then it's cut, and then they say, go back to number one. You go back to your number one. Well, you know, occasionally, you know, you're gonna have a break, bathroom break, or they have to change camera angles or whatever's going on. So go back, you know, take your break, then come back. I come back, and there's this cat standing on my spot. And he's a scruffy looking character. I mean, he's wearing jeans and a gray shirt and looked like hell. I mean, it wasn't that he's bad looking. He looked like you, Tom. I mean,
and it turned out to be Chris Evans.
Actually, he looked like you because it's Chris Evans.
Oh, right.
And Chris Evans and you, actually, you could be a stand-in. If you're the same, if you were the same.
Stop, Logan. His head's gonna.
Hey, relax, Chris. Mute Chris.
I'm
Logan. You keep going.
I'm fucking Jerry.
Chris is
Garcia
on. He's on my spot, and I'm saying, am I going to tell this guy, this jackass, to get off my spot? Because people jump your spots all the time when you're on, you know, because they want to be in front of the camera. And I said, you know, you got to stay cool on a movie set because you don't want to be causing commotions and scenes and being an ass of yourself. So I said, I'll just move away and let it go. And then the director says, Mr. Evans, are you ready to shoot? And that's when I realized that the jackass sitting on my spot was Chris Evans. So that's how I met him. I didn't get to say hello or anything, but we were standing shoulder to shoulder there for a moment.
That's all right. I'll act in a movie. You can direct it, Logan, and we'll have Chris Evans be my stunt double. I'll let you meet him.
Well, you know, all of these, it's not even a double. It's not a stunt double. It's just these are doubles. You know how the doubles work when you're making a movie. Okay, the camera needs to set up. They got to set up the lights. They got to set up the angles. They got to get you framed into your picture. But they're not going to make Chris Evans stand there for 20 minutes while they do all this horseshit. Mm-hmm. So they have a stand-in. They're called a stand-in. Stand-in comes in. The stand-in looks exactly like the actor. Same complexion, same hair, you know, same clothing. Stands there looking like Chris Evans or whoever it happens to be. They set up the cameras, they set up the lights. Everything's ready. They're ready to shoot. Stand-in walks out. The actor comes in, and they shoot the scene. So what I'm saying is you look enough like Chris Evans. I'm not saying you're 100% double, but, you know, you're very, very similar looking. So if you were the same height and weight, you'd very well be a good stand-in for Chris Evans.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That just made my night. I'm good. Good. I hope Molly is watching.
I love, you know, I really
Chris,
love.
you hit record, right? We're live.
No, I didn't, Tom.
You're not recording this?
No,
I
he
am,
is.
I am.
He's giving me stuff.
There's going to be some edits, though.
Okay. Okay.
Just kidding. Just kidding. So, what attracts you to the kind
Yeah.
of genre films that you
You
make?
look like Chris Everett.
What attracts me to the kinds of films that I make?
Yeah. Why did you start making the kinds of the genre films that you make?
First movie that I made, and you showed it, Twisted Dreams, this year, 2020. It went on the event of site, but we didn't get to come in and sit in the seats. But it was The Bumbling Psychopath. It was actually the first film that I had an actual actor in it, because I'd always done little things where I have a little mannequin I use as my stand-in. I set up the shot with my little mannequin, then move the mannequin out. I move in, do a little shot. This is my first film with an actual actor in it. And my camera was this extraordinarily expensive Canon, everything's screwed up, Canon PowerShot 260. It shoots a 740p, but it's a decent camera. I mean, it's a really decent camera. So, I mean, the film that I made, The Bumbling Psychopath, I shot at 740p, but I edited it in my later edits at 1080p, and it comes out, because it's black and white, crappy and everything, it comes out looking perfectly fine. Yeah. So I shot it in my brother's slaughterhouse. He has a farm museum. The farm museum has a slaughterhouse in it. It's good. You saw the inside of it when you saw The Bumbling Psychopath. Mm-hmm. I had met, my actress was someone I met at a nude dance bar, and she was, normally if you go to a nude dance bar and you talk to somebody and says, "Would you like
of course
in my movie?" They say, "Yeah, let's have a dance for $20 or something like that." "Yeah, we'll talk about it later." You go up, you have your $20.
That's how I met Tom.
And they walk away. But she really wanted to be involved in film and in movies. And she actually worked, I don't know if Bob Kurtzman would ring a bell with you, but he's one of the best makeup men in the world. Did the makeup From Dusk Till Dawn. Sam Raimi. No, that wasn't Sam Raimi. I think it was Rodriguez.
Tarantino and Rodriguez.
But Tarantino was in the... Yeah, Tarantino actually was sitting at the table.
I think he wrote it. And Rodriguez directed it.
I tell you, Kurtzman wrote it, and then Tarantino adapted it and took the credit for it. And that happens all the time too, but that's just the way it is in the movie business.
Yeah.
Kurtzman wrote it. Anyway, she worked in his shop to learn makeup. So at that time, I was completely bald, no beard or anything, completely bald. And she did fantastic makeup on my head. It looked like the full moon or something like that. We went in the shed, like 20 degrees, and I put the tape. It was used double tape. It was duct tape, but I did it double-sided so it wouldn't be sticky, but you could still give it a good wrap. So I wrapped her up in that, and she was cool. If you actually look at that real closely, and even with all the edits, you can see a little mist coming off every once in a while, and that's her breath because it's like 20 degrees. That poor girl almost froze.
Oh, wow.
But that was my first film, and that I made, and I loved it. Then I made maybe one more. I'm hiding here, and I'm coming back. This is my big camera.
There you go.
I don't know if you can see this thing. Oh, move it back.
What is that? A Rebel EOS?
So this is a Canon T3i. I mean, they were the thing 5 years ago or something like that. Mm-hmm. But they're still good. I got a question for you. You can now get a 4K camera for about $1,200-1,500 bucks. Mm-hmm. They're not too expensive if you get this size. It's a little handheld, but it shoots 4K. And I've heard, for example, that many filmmakers that want a black and white scene will film in color and convert to black and white because it gives them more, tonal, whatever it is, more tone stops.
Yeah.
Does the same thing hold up with 4K? Because that a lot of festivals don't want 4K films. I can't do anything with them. They want 1080p films. So here's my question. If you shoot in 4K, can you convert it down to a 1080p, and will that 1080p, look better than what you would have if you shot in 1080p originally?
I don't think it would look any better. I think it would just be 1080p. You're down converting, so I think it would look just the same. I don't think it would matter. I think you should just shoot in 1080p if you want a 1080p film.
I got to look into that because
also 4K takes up a lot of memory, like a lot of memory.
I guess that's the bigger thing, because I'd be running through, through cards, SD cards like Oreos.
Yeah, we take 4K films, and some of the 4K films that we get are like 50 gigabytes. So they're pretty considerably sizey. Sizey, is that a word? Oh, it is now. They're big.
Sure. Wow. Okay. It was a thought, but that was the first, and then the movies that I make, I want to come up with a title first. So, Gimme Head, Tail of the Big Butt, is about a gorilla that takes off the heads of his victims, and that's all it means. I mean, but maybe whatever.
You were getting inspired in the dance club, trying to find actresses, and Gimme Head came out of your mouth.
No,
I'm gonna make a movie out of that.
It's just a good title for a film. You got to have a good title for your film.
You got to have that hook. You got to catch.
I want my next Netflix and chill. I'm gonna put that movie on.
So
subliminal message, right? Not obvious.
So yeah. So Ro-Boob, the farting robot monster. That was one of my actors said, "Why don't you make a movie about a monster that's farting all the time, or something like that?" And the deal there, the concept there, and you had it last year in 2019 as one of your featured shorts. There, it's a lonely robot monster. He's going through the universe trying to find love. He can't find it. He comes to the Earth. He comes up to different couples. First couple is playing strip poker, and she's down to her shorts. Ro-Boob comes up, and she goes up like this, and Ro-Boob, that's not love. She turns around, sprays him one, and they die. Second couple's playing frisbee. She thinks the top is just going to get in the way of playing frisbee, so she takes her top off and they're playing frisbee. Ro-Boob comes up, and she does the same thing. Ro-Boob acts the same way. Third couple, younger girl, older guy. They're having lunch. The girl is actually fully clothed. Ro-Boob comes up. She falls in love instantly, and she pulls her top down, and Ro-Boob falls in love, and she falls in love, and they run together, and they go off together in the spaceship, and both live happily ever after. And that's
sounds like how Tom
that's the kind of movie I make.
Mm-hmm.
My wife.
Tom, what was that question that you asked a few weeks ago about how you approach an actor or actress to be nude in your film? What was that?
Yeah.
What was that question? I think Logan might be able to answer that question.
You know what? I got to tell you, I had to cast. I wanted to get for the movie I'm making now, The Last Man on Earth. There's a story that is in the New York Post, I think, but it's all over. It's at CNN and Wall Street Journal also. That the Chinese authorities are cracking down on funeral strippers because the concept of do you know what a concept of a funeral stripper is?
Damn commies.
Die in China or have a wedding in China. You want to have a big crowd because that tells you that you're successful and you have a lot of friends on their crowd net. So the Chinese, being a puritanical, whatever, try to cut down on that. And with COVID, they had a really good excuse to try to cut down on crowds. So they just said they just banned funeral strippers whatsoever, altogether.
Damn commies.
So I've got a little scene. It's from a Serbian news station. It's all spoken in Serbian. And he gives this little anecdote about the Chinese funeral strippers. And for illustration, I need a stripper for that. So I went to I went to a couple different acting websites trying to get somebody who could do a striptease kind of little dance, submit it to me on whatever in front of a green screen. I put the backgrounds in. I put that in there. You can't believe the kind of flack I got from people. People were saying, what kind of creep are you making movies with naked women? And some guy said, I don't even think you're a filmmaker. You're just
He's just using it as an excuse
what
to
are
get
you doing here? They actually kicked me out of the group, and this was Chicago actors something or other. I'm back here now, but so you just can't walk up to an actress and say, how would you like to be topless in my next movie? And you gotta find actresses that are willing to do that. And I asked around how you do it and how much it would cost. And they said in Cleveland about $100. That'd be a day's work. All my other actors work for free, so $100 is big money for me.
Mm-hmm.
So where do I get? I have one stripper. I had one gal that I find out later is doing free porn. I had no idea.
You wasted your money.
She was a great actress. She really was great, and she's no longer with us because something.
Because she was doing free porn.
No, she's no longer with us because she had a bad incident that sort of ended it for her. And rumors, I don't know. And then one of my actresses was like a model, does that 50s style modeling, and I don't know how I found her. Oh, another one I found on Model Mayhem. Have you ever heard of Model Mayhem?
No.
Okay. It's called Model Mayhem. And look it up. And it's
looking it up.
Sure you are, Tom.
It's a site for models. And the models put postings up of what kind of photography they're interested in, what they'll do, and whether they're dance, acting, whatever it is. And also one of the categories is whether they shoot nude or not. And so you can go to Model Mayhem. And one of my actresses is actually a cover model for Playboy magazine. And that was the gal in Ro-Boob that was playing strip poker. And the man that she was playing strip poker with is her real life husband. So since I had her in, she said, "Can he come along?" I said, "Sure. Have you together? You'll be very comfortable with each other." So I think the best thing is just ask around, and other people who have had topless actresses. My wife hates it. She wishes because I can't show it to my grandchildren or even my daughters or
Sure.
my sons or anybody. And anyway, that's where I find them. And I mean, the gals that I work with, they don't have any problem with it. I'm not. The thing is, I think they'd do it for free, but there is something about getting paid that says that you're not just doing it for free because you're not a good girl. You're doing it professionally. You're getting paid for it. It's a job. And so I think there's something that you can tell yourself inside that, yeah.
Okay, I got one chick that's in the swimwear and underwear. So
anyway.
Are you going to put Molly up on Model Mayhem? Maybe some gigs.
Model Mayhem. I got a question for you before we move on, because I don't have any idea how long I've been talking now. When you were talking, who were you talking with?
Swimwear and underwear.
You were talking with this cowboy. What was the cowboy thing? Crazy Cowboy. No, what's the name of it? You just interviewed the guys this past weekend. Two brothers.
The Thornton brothers.
What?
The Thornton brothers?
Yeah, Thornton brothers. And the name of the movie is Something Cowboy.
Cactus Jack.
Texas Jack. I'm sorry.
Cactus Jack.
Sorry. Cactus Jack. Why did I think cowboy? Maybe I'm thinking the guy in Taxi Driver. Did he wear a cowboy hat or?
Travis Bickle? No, I don't think he wore a cowboy hat. I don't remember him wearing a cowboy hat.
Had a cowboy in that thing or not. Anyway. So you were talking with him about some kind of a premiere for his movie that you're going to be working with him on.
Mhm.
So how? Hi, Tom. We heard that. Okay.
Someone need to get the phone.
You know what? I didn't turn my phone off either, frankly. I better do that.
No one ever called me time, so I'm professional tonight.
I'll get it.
You're all distracted about Model Mayhem.
There we go.
Let's turn this off.
Practice check. Are you going to do that on Eventive, or do you have a platform to do that?
That'll be on Eventive, yeah.
Okay, so I looked at, once I saw what you did with the film festival, I thought it was the coolest thing I'd seen, because I've seen people doing it on Vimeo, I've seen different kinds of different platforms. And I think Eventive certainly had the cleanest platform that I've seen. And you can, within the time block, you can stream in, and you don't have to come in, right when it starts. You can come in a little bit later. I had some problem because after a while they'll cut them off, and I got halfway through a really great movie, and then they cut me off, and I just never saw the end of it. Mm-hmm. But anyway, on a single event, I forget what they call it. Single event on Eventive, it's like $2.99, I think. I don't know if that's the price you see, but it gives you the film availability for a full year, which, it's more than just a night or an evening. Mm-hmm. I know that when you do something like a film festival, it goes up to like $8.99, and you can have so many features and so many shorts, and that gets more expensive. But
the festival was not cheap for us this year. It was pretty expensive.
Boy, I hope you got your money out of it.
Oh yeah, we did. We just about broke even, so we were happy.
That's good. I know a guy in Cleveland that rented a theater for a film festival, and it got to be, hey guys, if you go into doing a film festival and decide to put yours on, it only starts with the cost of the theater, because once you've signed your contract, then you have to find out that you have to pay this concession man, and then you're going to have to pay the projectionist, and then you're going to have, it's all kinds of stuff. So
we didn't have to deal with any. We had this is our first virtual year this year. We're normally in a theater, and we didn't have any of those costs. So we were pretty lucky.
Not with the virtual, but I'm saying if you're going to throw your own film festival, get all those costs down beforehand, so that you know how much you're going to be into it, because it can get expensive really fast. And I'm sure you've seen that, Chris and Tom, because theater rentals aren't cheap. I'm sure. I don't know. I haven't been able to make it out to Milwaukee, and certainly not this year. But where do you do your festivals when you screen them live?
The Time Cinema in Milwaukee. Time Cinema in Milwaukee.
Okay.
51st and Valete Street.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I got to get there. I'm sorry I haven't been there 2 years ago, and this year.
It used to be a porn theater. You probably know right where it is.
I want you to understand that just because I make crappy movies doesn't mean that that's where my mind is all the time.
Hey, we're a trashy film festival. We do it in the old porn theater.
And I make serious movies too. Actually, my Last Man on Earth, about the guy that dies in COVID, where is that? Do I still have that over here? He finally dies. No, his wife dies first, and he buries her. And then he gets sick, and he's in bed, and he's eating beans out of a can, and she walks in, and she just chews his arm off, that leg, and that's going to be fun doing that. But there's going to be a lot of blood on the bed, so
I'm looking at your poster now for that, and it's a cool looking poster
for
Last Man on Earth. Yeah,
that was actually made by John Migliori, and he's a filmmaker in Toronto, actually in Hamilton, Canada, which is just outside of Toronto. And I met him in Michigan in the film Zombie Apocalypse Redemption, and he was one of the zombies, and I was a zombie. And we just sort of, having met, we somehow met up, continue to meet up. And so he does in this film, he's an Italian professor of pharmacology from Padua University, and he talks about how the coronavirus came to Italy. And this is of the year 2024. It's not this coronavirus, it's a new one in the future.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about how it comes to Italy and everything that they go through and what have you. He did that poster though. I had done one poster. There's another poster. If you're on IMDb and if you look at the images, you'll see another poster, which is the one that I did, which is a little bit crappier. But he did the one that's there right now. I have a blue face, looks like a moon or something. I don't know. But that's actually sort of designed right off of one of the movie The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price, 1964. It's got a dozen different posters.
Sure. Yeah, I see your other poster right now.
Yeah, some of them are better known than others, but one of the better known posters is Vincent Price, and there's this creepy old castle or creepy old house in the background with all these things and stuff on it, and something else is going on, and a little card that says "Last Man on Earth" and funny little text stuff. Mm-hmm. He designed his, and he just absolutely volunteered. Said, I'll give you a poster, and that's how I ended up with that poster. Great guy.
That's awesome.
Wow, I'm looking at your pictures, and you are a man of a million faces.
Well, that's what. See, did I tell you why? In the final scene of The Last Man on Earth, my hair has grown out. I've just gone to seed because I'm not getting out, and there's zombies outside at this point. So I've got to shoot that scene last. Once I've got that scene shot, then I come back and I have some intermediate scenes. And with that intermediate scene, my beard will be shorter and my hair will be shorter. And when I get into the very first scenes of the film, I'm going to have a very nicely trimmed beard. I'm going to have very nicely cut hair. I'm going to look like, like a lawyer you might meet anywhere, looks businessman, lawyer, banker, something like that. But I got to go backwards with the long hair and then cut my hair backwards as I go. And actors do that, put on weight, lose weight, grow hair, cut hair long, all that kind of stuff. Sort of goes with the territory. And some of them get pretty good at it. I mean, the guy that does, is it Batman? One of the guys that does some of those guys like lose 40 pounds or something. I mean, it's amazing. Or they bulk up so that they have these great big six packs, and they don't paste those on; they build up to that. So cutting your hair that's not a really big deal as things go. Okay, what's going on, Tom? Because you're on mute and I can't hear what you're saying.
Time on mute again.
Okay.
No, it looks like you could go right into witness protection and no one would recognize you.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I got an old German face. Some faces are just, I don't want to say generic, but they can, you can do so much with them. The way I got the role in Oz the Great and Powerful, it was at a time when I was completely bald, but I had mutton chops that came around like this, back up again. And I had sent in, they cast all different kinds of people. They wanted somebody that could ride a high wheel bike, with those great big wheels, a little wheel. Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah, I can do that. And I had no clue how to ride.
I was going to say you probably had no clue how to do it. I've heard stories like that before where people have done that.
I had no clue. But I figured, you got it. If they cast me, I'm going to have to have one of those things and learn how to do it. Well, they wanted somebody to be a tinker, and tinkers were the guys with the long beards and long hair. And they were the carpenters and the people that built things. And, they worked with pipes and all kinds of tools and stuff. And I had completely bald and this little thing here. And they said, come on in, but shave your beard off. And Howard Berger, who did The Lion, the Witch, and the Cabinet, or whatever that movie was,
Mhm.
He won an Academy Award for it. I sat in his chair for like 3.5, 4 hours, and he put on individual hairs and all kinds of stuff that spackled my eyes and all this stuff. And after that, took me up to see Sam Raimi. To see this was the Tinker appearance, wardrobe, not wardrobe, the Tinker makeup. Sam Raimi liked it, and so they said, "Okay, we're gonna run with it." So yeah, I just try to be adaptive, and if you have hair, you can always cut it off. If you don't have hair, you can't grow it on fast enough.
I wish.
I don't normally have. I can either go biker or Santa Claus with this.
Combine them.
Biker Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. Biker Santa. I was in a film down in Kentucky. I think it was Santa Zombie or something. What was Santa Claus Meets the Zombies? That was a film they made down in Kentucky. That was a pretty good, funny film. Made it in Lexington, Kentucky. There was a film director down there. I can't remember his name, but he would make all these strange indie films. There'd be features, but end of the world, military men in bunkers at the end of the world, those kinds of films. I got into a couple of his films. They were a lot of fun to make, but Santa Claus versus the Zombies was one of the better ones.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I think it's about time that we need to wrap things up. Logan Fry, thanks for joining us. We'll have to have you back.
Logan Fry.
Well, don't cut off, because I really did enjoy Lloyd Kaufman.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that was a good episode. That was a fun
good interview. I know I was supposed to come in that same evening. He was a little bit late, and I know the whole thing, and I got bumped somehow or another. I don't know. Maybe I didn't show up, which is probably the more likely thing that happened. But whatever it was, I get to come in tonight on such an exciting night when so much is happening in America.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. It's fun being in Wisconsin right now.
Chemist, lawyer, weaver, driver, actor, director, writer. Logan Fry, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Tom. Thank you so much, Chris.
All right. Thanks for coming on. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow we have Addison Benek on. So, all right.
Thanks. Bye now.